Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Moms Talks Sex podcast. I'm your host, Maura Yelvington of Morph Transform Your Reality, where I help women step out of trauma and reclaim their power. I'm so happy to have you here for this open conversation about moms, sex, motherhood, children, relationships, marriage, and everything in between. So grab your drink of choice and let's dive in. The beautiful Marianne with me today. Did I say it right?
Hi. Yeah, so Marianne St Clair is my name, and I am a mom and a grandmother. I'm a mother of two and a grandmother of two boys, a mother of two girls. And I have really been on a journey since early in my 30s, so about 25 years, a little bit more than that. But as a life coach, started out many years ago, and then morphed into being more the feminine expression as a muse. So I kind of bring both together, and I work on sexual and sensual embodiment, and really so that we all can be confident in who we are and how we want to express ourselves in the world as more of our authentic self. So I've also, through the years, I'll go into a little bit of my journey, if that's okay. I was sexually molested twice when I was little. So I once from a friend of, well, a business colleague of my father's. It's kind of like a Rotary Club member, or he was part of a business organization. And they invited me to come over and spend the night, he and his wife, and after a pool party. And I was only about 5 years old. And so he performed oral sex and stuff on me at nighttime. And so it was really interesting because I get on a lot of these different podcasts and sexual trauma and healing sexual trauma. And they tend to come and say, wow, I've never heard it like that. So I actually am one of the one who first was introduced to my pleasure that way. And I really enjoyed it as a young girl. It wasn't traumatic. It wasn't really, so I've always carried a lot of sexual energy. But the second time I was with my mom and her boyfriend, and my mother was laying on one side and he was in the middle and I was laying on the other side. We were camping on the beach. And I was molested by him. And this time it brought in a lot of that fear stuff. It was like, shh, be quiet, don't say anything, don't, and so I went into that freeze, mode, and locked that experience in my body. And so I held a lot of resentment towards my mother for many years because of that. I acted out. I just made her kind of my enemy. Because why didn't my mom protect me? She was right there. Why didn't she, help me? And so I locked those stored trauma in my body. And it wasn't until many years later that I was able to express that and move that and get it out of my body. And so I love now helping other women and men. I work a lot with both, but a lot of high-powered men and women to find that sense of freedom within them, to be able to feel confident and safe and happy and healthy, being them and being able to show up fully in the world. So I love talking about sex and talking about how we can move into a space of where sex is not taboo. It's not something that we hide and keep away from, but obviously it is a wonderful thing because that's how babies are made. Sexual energy is phenomenal. So questions, anything? That was just a little bit about my journey, and so I can relate to a lot of women out there.
Well, I would love to know how did this blocking the trauma in your body, how did it manifest in your day-to-day life? When did you actually get that aha moment? I need to look at this or something that I feel. Because I'm trying to show women that the simple things that we go through are related to something we're inside. So when does that?
One thing was that I didn't speak up and I didn't say so I held my voice back. I didn't ask for the things that I wanted. I didn't, I would, and part of it also in the way that it manifested was I was always a very bold, very strong-willed, but I felt like I was too much because, shh, Marianne, be quiet. Stop being too much. Stop, sit over there. And so I wasn't allowed to be all of me. I wasn't allowed to, I was always too much. And then I wouldn't use my voice to say, to ask for what I wanted, to be able to communicate in a way that, oh, here's one that's coming to me. I would more use it passive aggressive and very, I would dance around a lot of what I wanted by, being more manipulative behind rather than just saying, I want this, can I have it? Or stop doing that. Another thing is I used sex a lot in my younger years to get what I wanted. I used my body to get what I wanted. So finding a healthy balance. But I think another thing that really showed up for me was I had back problems at age, let's see, I was right around 18 when I had my back operated on. And so second chakra, if we go there, if you've gone into the second chakra is sex and money and power. And so I had back operation at 18, manifested there as trauma. And money has always been between the money and the sexual related issues that showed up in my back. So those, I would say that's kind of one big place that it manifested.
So when was that turning point? When were you were like, okay, something's up and I need to act? What was that?
Well, it's been a journey. I think one of the first times was when life was doing really great, and I was my former husband's muse, and we were making a lot of money. We were doing a lot of things, but there was something missing inside of me where I was showing up for him. But when I would ask for something, like when I would ask to go to college, or I would want to do something for me or go on a trip for me or something, it was more like, it was not it was all about him. It was all about what he wanted. And so I think, really being able to, I got divorced, and it was on a journey. It was totally for a journey of finding myself and being able to exercise my voice and asking and owning what I wanted, instead of what somebody else wanted. Now, could I have, this is 30 years ago, and my generation, I'm 60 now. So my generation, was a lot different. I'm a baby boomer. So it came later that we're still trying to exercise our voices. We're still trying to ask for what we want. We're still trying to find our femininity power, our feminine power versus, I think back in the 60s, we put on our pants, we burned our bras, and we tried to become like men. We tried to become masculine. And that's what we're seeing now with so many women going through burnout is, not fully owning both polarities, the feminine and the masculine. So I think, we're starting to really embrace that. I don't think we know how to show up fully as women. And I don't think men know how to show up fully as men. So I think we're really starting to find the wholeness of ourselves.
Yeah, bringing up that balance. And I was telling you, like, that's my main goal. Like, if I could ask for anything to really eradicate sexual abuse, but by raising with them and taking down that super masculine and really coming to an even status quo where we don't have to be more or less. It's be, right? And that balance. Right now it's so unbalanced. There has to be a way to fill in, and we're trying to fill in so much. And and this part taking advantage, like this, we have to find a way to have this. And so really by connecting it from an inside out, right?
Yeah, it is an inside out journey. It is a full integration of our masculine and feminine. And I think, we've been taught that femininity is weakness, that it's not, that it's not powerful. And I beg to differ. I beg to differ that a lot of a woman's, if we want to go to gender versus the masculine and feminine energy, but a woman who is fully in her, embraced in her femininity, she is seducing the world. She is like really calling in through her allure and her magnetism and, bringing things to her. And not that men don't have that same ability, to do it also, because we both have masculine and feminine. But I think that we're hard on each other as women. We're vicious with each other because we'll sit there, and if a woman is fully in her sexuality and she is just showing, she's glowing and everything, we'll be like tearing her down. And really we need to celebrate and go, ooh, what she got that I need, and lift each other up. Like if somebody wants to dress more provocatively, more power to her. She's beautiful in her expression, and if I don't like it, then I need to look at, well, why don't I like it? Instead of tearing another woman down, let's lift each other up.
Yes, all of that. So what kind of tips can you give, married women with children, moms at home, trying to spice up their marriage, trying to add more, of that intimacy to their relationship and bring back that fire?
Yeah, well, first it's to know your own pleasure. It's really to begin to start mapping out and find your pleasure zones, because how are you ever going to communicate it to your partner if you don't even know it yourself? If you're not, willing to touch your own body and feel what feels good, it does hard touch feel good, or does soft feathery touch? Because soft feathery touch could be like nails on a chalkboard to somebody. It'd be like, oh, and they need more, firm embraces. So it's really start learning your own pleasure and I tell this to everybody I meet, everybody, man, male, female, kids to adults, is make pleasure a priority. We were taught that pleasure is something bad. We were taught that, pleasure is sexual and you should only do it when you're married. And there's so many, I call them beliefs, barriers, and bullshit that we've been taught that tells us that pleasure is something bad. Pleasure is our birthright. It's something that we can cultivate and create happiness and joy for ourselves, the more pleasure we can allow ourselves to have. So I think, get in there and explore and be curious. There's where I bring in the play aspect. Be curious, bring in the childlike wonder and play that you used to have when you did things on the playground, but take and look at your life as your playground. Begin to be curious, be adventurous, take risks, get the toys out, find what toys you like, find what things you like, because it's all about exploration.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Love that so much. Well, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. Our listeners want to find you where
they can find me on all social media. I'm Marianne St Clair. I have on YouTube, but I have a free masterclass called the Biz of Pleasure.com, BIZ of pleasure.com. And on all social media, send me a note. And I have, for women, I have a guide to unleashing your pleasure. So if you want to contact me, I'll be sure to send you it's a very beautiful 20-page guide.
I love that. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you guys for listening and tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Moms Talk Sex podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, and support our community by joining our Facebook group, Moms Talk Sex, or follow us on Instagram at Morph Healing.